And we're going to start this live. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. And we've already started, okay? Again, we're going to try to make a big summary, right? The big summary of what did I learn this week? Make a big summary. Let's see what will happen, what we will do, what we can improve. Here I will watch the recording. I think it's almost ready. I'll just increase it here and everything is fine. I'm just going to tweak Instagram a little bit. I think we're fine. We're already fine. Waiting for the sun to set and we'll start our live today. I hope you are all well. In just a minute and we'll start. Okay, it's 8 p.m. We're in Aventura and today is March 5th, 2025. Our live stream today is called Tekoha. Tekoha, Postmodern Cooperative Education. I'm going to show you that. But first, I'm going to find out what Tekoha is. When I went to Hawaii once, I went to Hawaii. In Hawaii, there's aloha, aloha. They say that in Hawaii, this is not Tek Ora. Tek Ora is a name that means represents a place where the way of being is realized. It's a Guarani concept. So Tek Ora is where the way of being is realized, connecting the territory to the community in harmony. So why Tek Ora, where you realize the way of being? And postmodern cooperative education, just look. Cooperative education is the idea of having a leader. This leader is the teacher, the master, and so on, and brings the whole class together, all the students, and everyone does something together. Everyone learns together without highlighting one. You know that student who knows more? All together, it's a community, it's a cooperation, it's a cooperative. So that's exactly the idea, okay? You have a cooperative education. And we're going to understand why this cooperative education is so important today, okay? And it's in fact fundamental, so good. Look, tech.aura, tech.aura is a place where the way of being is realized. Cooperative education is no longer competitive education. I received competitive education. My family, my parents received competitive education. So in fact, when you receive competitive education in schools, you tend to be the best student. You have to go after it. Let's go. And if you're not the best student here, you're in sports, so you go after it. You always reinforce the self. Competitive education reinforces the self. And here we have something that is the beginning of something that is bad in society today. Belief in the self. Remember I told you that belief in the self is belief. The self does not exist anywhere. The self is belief. Belief in the self gives ego. And from this ego comes the search for profit, then profit, property and property, meritocracy, and then republic. And then the republic gives the guarantee to a minority that controls the state. It's a very interesting sequence. If you put it into cooperative education, you take away a little bit of that self. That self is replaced by we, the family, we, the community, we, the group, not the self. You can see that these selves, when they become a president or a dictator, are the self that imposes rules, uses rules like a republic, right? A bunch of rules impose this rule. They stamp it. The republic is a stamp. You stamp the rule on people. That's a republic. Democracy is no longer that. Democracy is a process where people get settled within this territory, within this state, within this. volume, while the self no longer does. The self is blocked. So I command, I am the boss, I am the owner, I want it, it is mine, not yours. And there is jealousy too. So look, this is very interesting. We know that this self, this belief of the self, was not something that all cultures had. Very good. One thing I realized that very few people know is that Carnival, we spent Carnival now. In fact, the people at Carnival even stopped by to celebrate our Oscar because of I'm Still Here, which we won for Best Film. But Carnival is a very important thing, and Carnival didn't come from Europe. Here, the Amerindians also had their carnival type celebrations. So many Amerindian peoples had that. At this time of celebration, there was an inversion of values. So sometimes in communities where men were in charge, women are in charge at this time. It inverts the values of man and woman, of child and adult, of leader and leader. It inverts values. Carnival is a time, a celebration of changing values, inverting values. But it is not just inverting for the sake of inverting. In some Amerindians, there was even a time to say marriages could be changed. Look, it can't continue anymore. You can change the festivities. So the celebration is almost like changing lives. Carnival was the moment when you change your way of seeing things. You criticize values, you criticize norms and rules to try to reach another point, a better norm and rule for the community. It always has to do with the community. So, in these Amerindian celebrations, Carnival meant the moment to change your life before it ends. Life will end, but at certain times, once a year, you can change your life. So you change the rules, you change the way of being, you change the way of existing, you change your beliefs. Why? To see if they can enjoy life a little more. Carnival, changing the rules. And many in these communities could continue with the change as long as it is sustainable, of course, for the good of the community. So Carnival, we say Carnival came with beauty. Here in our Amerindian communities, there was also Carnival, and some experts, historians, showed that there was a behavior, including that the Portuguese cut and said it was a perversion of the Indians. So they started to break this and say that it was folklore, that it was something very strange, something that was not Christian. And then when it is not Christian, you set fire to it, you burn everything. So, but Carnival existed here, so it is good for you to know. And what was important about Carnival, fantastically important, is that during Carnival time, the bosses were fake and freedom was real. That's how life is. Freedom should be real and the bosses are fake. Bosses are fake. So Carnival is very important for you to break even this self. I'm the boss, I'm the owner, I'm the father, I'm the mother, I'm the oldest, I'm the youngest, I'm stronger. Break this self a little bit. Carnival is the time to change that. And this change will change a lot in your life, in my life, in everyone's life. So the carnival moment is an interesting reflection. I don't like participating in carnival. No problem. It has several forms. One goes on retreat, another stays at home in seclusion, another chooses different companions, another remains reserved alone. I mean, everyone has a style, and others really want to party and see if there is a way to get more pleasure from life within normality without affecting our bodies. Others drink too much. Sometimes they take drugs too, complicated. So when it affects your body, be careful. You have to do these rituals and change the rules knowingly, always seeking a better, safer life and your well being and the well being of those around you. That's interesting. But we're talking about the self. This belief of the self in carnival, it can be changed. So every year you could change this belief of mine, change your beliefs, change your philosophy, change your way of being, and really change. One important thing I want to tell you, and it's interesting that this me, when it is created and in competitive education is valued, becomes a me. I remember my classrooms, I remember myself, how competitive I am, or I was more, now I'm not so much, but I wanted to compete, I wanted to win. And a lot of children with competition to be the best in front of the teacher, in front of the teacher. And it disintegrates this union of the whole, this cooperative education, this tech, damn it. Techo is precisely this place where the way of being is realized, being us, being the community, being a cooperative education, being better, creating harmony by connecting the territory and the community in harmony, and not exploiting, because within the self comes profit, exploitation, property, meritocracy, these things that are bad. And then comes the Republic. Why the Republic? Sometimes you forget one thing. The Republic will normally protect and defend a privileged minority. In Brazil, behind the Republic, there are about 120 people, 130 people, CPFs, who have more profit. When there is a privatization, these people are more privileged with this privatization. They have many properties. The state protects these properties. Jackson, do you count property? No. But what do you think about a person having more land than the state of Espírito Santo, for example? What is the limit of property? And when this person is born, he is already born with an immense amount of things. And he already controls everything. He is born with so much money that he controls the republic. He controls judges, controls deputies. He controls because he puts deputies, puts judges. So note, this is a very strong thing that cooperative education takes away this self. Take away this I and we have we. Let's see reciprocity, let's work together, let's help together. This utopia that I have, which is a utopia at the moment, this utopia does the following: reciprocity and so on. So we will help each other. And then you have a state that is irresponsible. And if you do not seek your profitability, your money, you will go bankrupt. You will be in a very bad situation. This is because of the irresponsibility of the state that behind a republic only gives privileges to some. As I told you, a trillion in annual interest favoring a small group, then it is distributed to others, but the privilege is very small and focused. Let's go. There's a concept I want to talk to you about, and I've talked about it before. This concept for today's live broadcast is good because of this tech aura, postmodern cooperative education. Why postmodern? Too, because look, we're going to use concepts, and this concept, belonging is one of them. We're going to use the concepts of deep being, concepts of existence. Belonging comes from quorum sensing, a concept that is real for cells, real for bacteria. We're going to use these concepts and we're going to use high technology to, with these concepts, leave European colonization and jump. Jump. For the postmodern, for something outside of the colonial, that is outside, moving forward, going ahead, for you to have well-being and for those close to you to have this well-being. So the loss that comes from the conscience, which I've already told you about before, and this is good to say because I have repeated it several times. The conscience is you have a group of bacteria, a community of bacteria. The information that reaches these bacteria generates molecules within it, and this information with these molecules, at some point, all the bacteria act together. This moment of coruscance, I say, has human coruscance. That information reaches the human from the egg cell until death, from birth until death. The information reaches this human, and this human, together with other humans, the same information acts together. There is a belonging. One way to explain it is a flock of birds, a beautiful flock. The tandoor had a very good movement. Sometimes the fish carp has very interesting movements. So this group means that the information that arrives gives the group a volume, a shape. This shape is real. Yes, but the information that arrives may be false. It may be disinformation. That's it. The information that arrives may be disinformation. But the reaction you have to the information that arrives is real. And this movement of this group, of this shoal with this information that arrives gives us a sense of belonging. And here we go. In another live broadcast that I spoke to you, I said, the mind seeks belonging without awareness. Wow. How? Because belonging is cellular, belonging is vital. The mind, I very much accept Amaziana's mind, is interoception. It is the metabolism of your body, it is the myostasis of your body, and it comes in a certain feeling together with the perception itself, which is your body's position in space. And you have there, at that moment, you have the mind. Yes, but the cellular belonging comes before the mind. The mind does not reach belonging. It only searches without awareness. So even though I tell you that my mind seeks belonging without awareness, I can explain it. But I will seek belonging with the information that I am receiving. You will seek belonging with the information that you are receiving. What is information? I was going to say this almost at the end, but I will say it now. What is information? Formation is forms, materials, and energies that reach your body. It's what you see, what you hear, what you eat. It's the matter that arrives, it's the volumes, it's the things, the energy that arrives, the sun, the heat, the pressure, it's everything that reaches you. This is information. So if you have a baby, the information that will reach the baby will give brain formation. It's with the information that you make the baby's brain formation. It's with the information that you put words in the baby. He will use these tools that are words. It's a great technology. And he will start to work in the feelings, which is the child's own metabolism. It depends on the diet. It also depends on how the child communicates, how the child reacts to the world around him or her. So you see, but all of this is information, simply information. Have you ever heard of something that turned the world into a techno-feudal world? New information. By the way, there will be a book that will be released, I think, next month, and I will be there in Sao Paulo, and I will buy this book for myself. Feudal technical system. What is that? Big tech controls information. Together with some governments, they control the consciousness of the population. That's it. So simple, right? Big techs control information because you are always on a screen or on Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp or YouTube. And behind this information, there are robots. And the robots control the information that reaches you. Control of information is control of consciousness, in a way, because it is not direct control. This control makes you seek belonging in your social network communities. So it's not in the real world community. Yes, but it has already become real because it is a social network and it changes a lot. And then you sometimes have a self that seeks profit, that seeks property, that seeks meritocracy, that supports the republic, that imposes enormous rules that privileges a few, a minority, 120 to 130 CPFs, okay? And then you end up supporting the republic blindly. Of course, we have to have an order. Of course, we have to have a democratic system. But a democracy is a search for the good of all. It is the search for this good of all. It seeks the will of all, but without violating the rights of anyone. Democracy is not the will of everyone. Democracy is seeking the will of everyone without violating the rights of anyone, without violating rights. And it's not democracy, oh, the people want that now. No, there are people who don't want it. If there are people who don't want to go straight, they can't. Did you notice? No, but the republic doesn't. The republic is a rubber stamp. It stamps. That's how it is. Then you are treated like a sheet of paper that has to be stamped according to the rules and regulations. So you have to be careful, and we have to seek this democracy that is a little more critical, stronger. Democracy has to help people and the environment. Democratic to the point where you start to look at democracy so strongly that you will defend DNA communities, digital communities, animals, etc. A defense of DNA, a defense of the living being, and not to get involved in this ego of mine, profit, property, meritocracy, and go to the dictator. This happens in your home if you are a father or mother or control a home, and it happens inside you. And inside you is what I'm going to talk about in a little while, okay? How we're going to solve this inside you. Because if you have a dictator inside you, if you have a self, a very strong ego inside you, you will impose a republic, a norm and rule, and you will stamp each and every character that appears in you, even if he is flexible or not. You impose rules to be followed, and sometimes these rules to be followed will harm your body. They will harm your well-being and the well-being of those around you. Because what is governing you is a very strong ego. And this ego, this self, does not exist. It is a belief fed by the system. Tekoha, Tekoha. What can we do with Tekoha? Tekoha is you trying to break the logic of the ego and cultivate communities. And it's that simple. In your childhood, you had your family. Then you got married, had your children, and have your family again. But you also go to work somewhere and have that family there. Then you go play soccer or something and have that family. You always have a family, a community. There's no I. So you're going to try to break this logic of the ego. It's always a we together. And this education will happen in the school itself. Yes, but in your head too. Understand? At school, I spoke to a researcher and he said, I've already tried to introduce cooperative education and such, a way for neuroscience to show science with evidence in educational processes. And he tried to do it. And the answer was, no, 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 here the philosophy is such and such. Yes, but this philosophy is not based on science and evidence. It doesn't matter. We are not looking for science and evidence. We want to instill a locked-in consciousness in the minds of our children. And that's what we're trying to propose now. No, let's break this logic of the ego. Let's try to see the state as a space. There's space, which is space or territory. There are these people in there. Man, everyone has to get along. Let's see how everyone is doing well. Whoever is there has to get along. Oh, but immigrants are coming. Man, how are they going to get along with us? Everyone has to get along. But the state is irresponsible, and when immigrants come, our jobs are compromised, and sometimes we earn less and we have problems because the state is irresponsible. The state is responsible. Jackson, how can the state be responsible? Of course, easy. Doesn't the state make a profit? Yes, the state makes a profit with its sales, with its things, with its GDP, with something. No. Direct citizen. Isn't the citizen the owner of the state? If the citizen is not the owner of the state, where is the citizen's income? Direct citizen. Not this year yet, but next year Drex will come out. And if we have political strength, Drexitadao will happen. It just happens. And what is Drexitadao? Drexitadao is the income of the state for every citizen. Rich, poor, it doesn't matter, everyone. Then we start to question the Bolsa Familia, the guarantee fund. Because if it provides income for the citizen, why the guarantee fund? If it provides income for the citizen, why the Bolsa Familia? It provides income for the citizen. Now there is no way around it. You can't let these people suffer. No, you have to have a citizen's income, okay? So the state will be a space where there is community management helping everyone, and the state will be poor, grow, evolve for the good of all. And there are dynamics of co-creation. Whenever you are at school somewhere, co-creation is about creating together, not about I created for you. No, we create together. And when it's time to say we can do it, it's not about achieving it, it diminishes that self. And if it diminishes that self, when this child who now has the self, it will diminish the day he becomes a president. He won't pretend to be a dictator to put norms and rules about a population that is going in a slightly different direction. It will impose itself, and it has to be that way. I do not accept this black population, or I do not accept this Japanese population, or Chinese population, or whatever. I do not accept this. No, man, no. Come on, where is the conscience? Where is this natural process occurring? Come on, there is one more. Also, success is collective well-being and socio-environmental regeneration. Success is collective well-being and nature being regenerated and not creating deserts. We are in a climate emergency. There are still people who think that the information they are receiving is true, that this is a natural problem of the earth. It is not a natural problem of the earth. It is a reaction to the attitude that human beings are having on earth. There's a lot of warming. There's a lot of oil being burned. There is a lot of fuel being burned. There are bombs going on here and there. It is crazy. In addition to the volcanoes that are already getting really hot, there are more bombs. So we are having dysfunctions. Deforesting everything. I mean, when you have a large amount of forest, the forest from the roots to the leaves holds a lot of water. Now, no, deforestation, this water is released, so it turns into more rain, and the climate is unbalanced. Rain here, drought there, cold. Man, forget about thinking, oh no, 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 no. People with big egos who want profitability and high income and property and privatizing the state and maximum profit will say no, it has nothing to do with it. What is maximum profit? Maximum profit all the time. They don't want anyone's good, they want their own good. So here we are learning that it is collective well-being and socio-environmental regeneration, involving animals and plants, biomes mainly. Belief in the self and the ego. These are the colonial and capitalist roots. Capitalism takes the belief in the ego and the self and colonizes it. I go to that population and make people's egos seek something, and this search, this prominence of one is humiliation of the other. I've seen a lot of people doing this, and it hurt me a lot, and today it hurts me even more. There are people who, due to a lack of personal merit, if there are people without personal merit, okay, I question that. Everyone has their merit. But people who consider themselves without personal merit gain merit by humiliating or dehumanizing others. There are a lot of people like that. So this one is a scoundrel, that one is a scoundrel, that one is a bandit, that one is something else. Because when I call dehumanize the other, I have a feeling of being better, of being deserving, of deserving to be better than the other by dehumanizing the other. This dehumanizing of the other is typical of someone with a fragile ego. It is typical of dictators who really want to massacre the other, which is to impose rules on others. So when we move away from this idea, from this me, and seek this cooperative education in schools, in your home, and in yourself, you will cooperate with others, but the state has to help, because now we are running after profit through money, because if we don't run after money, we will be harmed, we won't pay the rent, we won't pay for food. So the state has to help. And so the state is now going down this path of Drex. It started at Banco do Brasil. I think it will be completed this year or next year, and then socially and politically could become a citizen Drex. For example, we now have the business of giving the citizen Drex who has an income, the retirement itself that is in chaos, because retirement is a problem, and the government is paying this retirement for everyone. The citizen Drek, which is the state's income, the retirement itself in the future, whoever wants to have it. Make a private plan because the citizens Drek, the money for the sustainability of life, the state guarantees with its profitability, with its citizens Drek, with its income, because the citizen is the owner of the state, and it is the citizen who has to have the income from the state, and not this minority of 130, 120 people. It is the citizen who has a trillion in annual interest distributed to a few. What's happening, right? So change that. Reduce those trillions in annual interest. Let's try to invest more in retail CBDC with the Drek citizen, which precisely governs both right and left denying this. And the countries that are now starting to become more vulgar in the world, accept and use retail CBDC. And we are trying, paying everything for 120, 130 people, which we don't have as a country. No, shut up, hold on, lower that rate. How? Using retail CBDC, using the citizen DREC as the owner's personal income. Owner of the country, who is its citizen. Okay, but how can we combat this techno-feudalism? Because the interesting thing is this, Tekoha came to help us combat techno-feudalism. Techno-feudalism is here. Information in the hands of big techs and together with some governments controlling the population's consciousness, because the population itself will seek tightening without this consciousness. So it is running after something and does not know what it is. And how does it run after it? It runs after the information it is receiving. And what is information? Matter, energy, vision, hearing, food, what you see that enters your body. This is information. When the information reaches you, you receive it, process it, and together with other people create this group movement, a shoal movement. And this movement is real. But the information can be false. Like Jackson, the information is false, but the movement is real. So you have communities and groups on Facebook or YouTube or WhatsApp where you receive information, fake news, and the reaction is real. When the reaction occurs, belonging, the group feels like a family. There is a sense of belonging. Why is this belonging in the group? Because the state does not grant belonging, because the state does not grant the citizen drag, because you do not belong to the Brazilian state, because the Brazilian state gives more money to about 120, 130 people, because it is a republic that defends the privilege of the minority. So the state has to change, it has to be truly democratic and not convey this idea of simply imposing profit for the few and privilege for the few. Did you notice? So what are we going to do for you to change this? You have to know where you are and act. How am I going to know where I am? What information are you receiving? You know this. You are still a baby inside of you, the baby of your future, you know? You are a slave to your past. Everything that happened behind you shaped your ideas and beliefs, your rationale, your brain formation, everything. Because of the information you received. Yes, but the information that will come to your head in the future, you can select. Yes, but information will bring a new awareness. Go. So you are a slave to your past. You are the master of your future. You are the one who will define your future. You will define your awareness and your beliefs. Always take advantage of these moments, including carnival or a holiday, Christmas, New Year, whatever. Take advantage of this moment to make a big change so that you can start nurturing your future. How do you nurture your future? Select information because it is information that will shape your future. The information you receive, what you eat, what you drink, what you do, what you see, what you listen to, the network you follow, what you see, what you like, what you believe, this forms you, this gives you consciousness. This polarizes you into belonging to groups, which sometimes the information is false. Yes, but the movement is real. The movement on that information is real. And big tech uses disinformation to group people. And then you're going to use it within yourself, tech horror. Tech one says, no, calm down. We're a community. We can diversify our ideas. This idea is different from mine, but we're together. We're together. On this planet, life ends. Come on, let's cooperate. Let's do this cooperative education, and you cooperate, showing that we're in this boat together. This boat is the planet, and the planet it's facing climate emergencies. We have to help this vessel, this planet, together. It's not about ego. It's not about maximum profit. It is not with meritocracy or republics. It is with democracy. Of course, we will use capitalism. We will use capitalism because capitalism gives some returns, yes, but without ego, without maximum profitability, without this greed, this craving for profit, and this destruction of the planet. Guys, this is what I wanted to leave with you. Until next Wednesday.